Hello, my name is Hannah Hart, and this is Beyond the Plate with Kathy. You know, people always say strike while the iron's hot, and I believe in making the iron hot by continually striking, if that makes any sense. Even if you find yourself in an advantageous position, just keep things going because, you know, right now you're physically able to, really.
Season 3 of Beyond the Plate is presented by Martin's Famous Potato Rolls. Hey everyone, this is Cappy, and you're listening to Beyond the Plate, a podcast where I sit down with the world's culinary elite to explore their journey with food and their passion for giving back. Every episode, we share inspiring stories of what it means to be in today's hospitality industry. This season, we welcome a group of celebrities that have a connection to the world of food. Whether they host a food show, have a cookbook, or simply give back through food, we're excited to have them join us on Beyond the Plate. Season 3 of Beyond the Plate is made possible with the help of our friends at Martin's Famous Potato Rolls. Martin's was founded in the heart of Pennsylvania Dutch country in 1955. Martin's Potato Rolls are the #1 branded hamburger bun in America, and as I like to say, they can make almost any burger taste better. Heads up, folks, as I like to share something that I've done recently with Martin's in each of these little reads. Last week, we had a bonus episode with Martin's where I did a cook-along. So download that episode, check out the recipe, buy the ingredients, and follow along with me in the kitchen to cook my spicy Korean sloppy joes with quick pickled carrots and sesame slaw. Leftovers, by the way, I did a quesadilla with the sloppy joe mix and some cheddar cheese. Oof, very delicious. Anyhow, here's what I love about Martin's. Martin's mission encompasses more than just baking great bread and buns and rolls. They believe in giving back to their community and beyond. Through volunteering time and donating resources, they support hundreds of charitable organizations such as food banks, after-school programs, disaster relief, and others that provide sustenance and comfort to people in need, both close to their baking facilities and abroad. To learn more about Martin's, visit their website at potatorolls.com or follow them on social media at Potato Rolls. Martin's, we thank you. Okay, back to it. For this episode, we sat with none other than YouTube extraordinaire, Hannah Hart. If you don't know Hannah Hart, I'm going to put this, I guess, very straightforward. Hannah was working a 9-to-5 job in an office in New York when she decided to come home a little tipsy one night, pull out a bottle of wine, start cooking a grilled cheese, send a video to her friend on the West Coast. Lo and behold, at the snap of her fingers, hundreds of thousands of views later on YouTube, a YouTube star was born and set the stage for many, many, many other YouTube stars. She's nice, she's honest, she's funny, she's extremely hardworking. I have a feeling this woman doesn't stop. She didn't have an easy upbringing, and she hits on that during this episode, which is one of the main reasons why we're talking with her on this episode. You'll hear more about that later on. She has some very profound thoughts on this, actually. But now for the more formal stuff, Hannah Hart is an entertainer, a food enthusiast, and a 2-time New York Times bestselling author. So earlier on in my intro, how I say some of these celebrities have a food show or a cookbook or give back through food, Hannah does all 3 of these things. She has over 5 million digital world followers. She created the YouTube series called My Drunk Kitchen. And since then, she's co-produced and starred in multiple films, as well as hosted her own show on the Food Network and hosted a series for Ellen DeGeneres' digital network. In 2018, she launched Hannahlyze This, the self-help podcast that just can't help itself. Her consistent authenticity in her content has established her as one of the most influential voices in the LGBTQ community and has gained her recognition as one of Hollywood Reporter's new digital disruptors and one of Forbes 30 Under 30. I will stop here, but please enjoy this conversation as we go beyond the plate with Hannah Hart.
Hello.
Hi, it's Andrew Kaplan.
Hi, Andrew. Nice to meet you.
Where are you right now? Are you in LA?
I am based in Los Angeles.
What is your day like? Like madness, every day different type thing?
My day, every single day is different. I think it's something that is both really appealing to me because it's a great way to avoid monotony, but it's also a great way to be incredibly exhausted.
So you roll out of bed and you're like, coffee now or breakfast now or...
I roll out of bed and I'm like water with lemon now.
Nice.
I like to drink lemon water every morning. Yeah.
Have you been doing that for a while? Because I feel like I've read about that, like starts your metabolism and all that stuff. But is it just like a routine you're used to now?
It's a routine for me. I like to wake up and have a glass of lemon water in the morning. It just helps kind of get me feeling hydrated. I wake up pretty thirsty and it gets your metabolism going. And it just, for me, it really works out as a great way to start the day.
So as I was watching some of your YouTube videos, for some reason, I got super curious. You go with the flow in an incredible way. What makes you nervous? Anything?
Oh, what makes me nervous? I mean, lots of things make me frustrated. I guess that what makes me nervous is that I'm going to be the reason why something got messed up. I mean, letting people down makes me nervous, or not having properly understood expectation. That's something that makes me really nervous.
I mean, you seem to go with the flow and not let anything really stop you, though. Like, how does that work?
Well, I mean, being nervous is a natural feeling, you know, so it's a natural consequence of doing things that scare you, right? So,
totally.
I guess that's how it works, you know. There's no denying that I am, in fact, nervous, you know, that I can get nervous.
Were you always like that, or did it come easier, like, as you started to do more?
I've always been, I guess that it comes down to, I try and have as realistic expectations as possible while choosing to have a positive attitude. I like to call it practicing reckless optimism, which is like, I always say the optimism is, you know, kind of naive, right? It's waiting. Let's say you're at baggage claim and your bag hasn't arrived. Optimism is standing there being like, any second now. And reckless optimism is being like, well, they probably don't have my bag. That's fine. We're still going to have a great trip.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I love it. You kidding? It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to go back to the beginning, though, food related. Did you have a connection to food, or what was your relationship with food like as a kid?
My connection to food as a kid was always a lot of appreciation. We grew up eating a lot of fast food and that sort of stuff. We never really cooked at home. But but for me, it all kind of worked out like as an adult. You know, to me, like some of the best food you can have is fresh.
Right. Did you cook as a kid, or did your parents ever cook?
No, we never did. Yeah.
So family table was like fast food on the table, or I guess fast food in the car, maybe?
Yeah, fast food in the car and fast food in the table, that kind of thing. No, cooking was just never a part of our household. But we like to eat in front of the TV and stuff like that.
I still love eating in front of the TV.
I mean, to be fair, I also still love eating in front of the TV.
Or my wife and I get like takeout and we're sitting around the kitchen counter and we're like, are we going to sit for this one or just stand here? Yeah. So you attended UC Berkeley. You graduated with 2 degrees, English literature and Japanese language. You lived in Japan. Were you adventurous when you lived in Japan?
No, I stayed home most weekends. And, I mean, it's funny because the questions, like, I literally am such a huge nerd and am someone who is very hesitant about most things in life. So, you know, while people were going off every weekend to a different city or a different part of Japan, I was staying in, waiting for phone calls from my friends from home, which I regret. You know, I wish I had. At the time, I was 19 years old, and it was the first time I'd ever been that far from home. So I forgive myself for not being as adventurous as a, you know, resource-abundant 32-year-old that I am today would have been.
Did you learn much when you were out there? Like, since then, are you inspired by anything from there that you still use today?
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the best parts for me about living in Japan was that we were living in the countryside. So we were living, you know, in a part of America I've never even lived in, which is just like the country. I've always grown up very close to big cities, you know, or if not living in a big city itself, living 10 minutes, 20 minutes by train from a city. So to be living in a place that didn't even have a movie theater was really, really, really jarring for me. Ultimately, though, I think it taught me it opened my eyes to the value of participating in your local community. You know, in the beginning, we were all kind of stressed out, like there's nothing to do here. But then we just had to kind of clear our vision and see that there was lots to do here, you know, like the school festivals or going down and watching the local basketball game, you know, just kind of slowing down and focusing in on what the community was doing as opposed to waiting for something from the outside to come entertain us.
Interesting. You have many millions of subscribers on YouTube and over 1 million Instagram followers and all that great stuff. For those people who don't like necessarily know who you are or immersed with like who you are, what you do, can you tell them like who is Hannah Hart and how did you get here? Because it's quite a story. Like I know it, but I want people to hear it like in your own words.
Well, I guess I would say that there's no such thing as an overnight success. So that's a good thing to know at the start of this story. I'm someone who made a viral video for a friend, made a video for a friend of mine that went viral in 2011. I'm an entrepreneur and the space I work in is entertainment. That's kind of how I like to say it, you know, because I've written books. I've been in movies. I've had a show on Food Network. I'm working with Ellen DeGeneres right now on our new proposal show that just launched yesterday.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm a small business owner, and the business I produce is entertainment.
Amazing.
And my primary product is me.
So you start this, you know, YouTube show, if you will, My Drunk Kitchen, and it starts probably in a manner that every single human wishes they could do. Drink, come home late, and make food.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you think
Good news is every single person can do it.
Yeah. But why do you think this worked?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think that it's just people who have the shared sense of humor. I was lucky enough at the time that there was no idea of a YouTuber or a YouTube star, that the space was really, really young and nobody was paying too much attention. So I got to make things that I thought were funny, and I still get to do that today. But, you know, I think people have this idea that there must have been some master plan. Really, at the time, I thought, wow, maybe the best thing I could do would be to have the chance to publish a book someday. And then that's that, you know, and then it grew as the space around it grew. I mean, I was a part of pioneering the opportunity that now exists on the platform.
That's amazing. Okay, so let's jump into books. You've written multiple books, and correct me if I'm wrong, they're not exactly, well, one of them definitely is not a cookbook, and the other one is not necessarily a cookbook.
Yeah,
like,
one of them is just
how would you describe that?
Yeah. Well, for the first book I ever published, My Drunk Kitchen, A Guide to Eating, Drinking, and Going with Your Gut, I like to think of it as self-help parody cookbook. You know, it's a way to have fun in the kitchen. You can go for it, try and make something from it if you want. I don't necessarily condone or advise it. But ultimately, it's just kind of like a fun, positive coffee table book that gives you a little bit of a deeper look at who I am, and while still being the My Drunk Kitchen. It's if this YouTube show My Drunk Kitchen became a book.
Yeah.
And then my second book, Buffering, Unshared Tales of a Life Fully Loaded, is a memoir. It's a much heavier book. It's about my family's experiences with working in the mental health system and homelessness and foster care. And it's a much more meaty, kind of weighty book for those who are, you know, fans of autobiography and memoir. As I am.
So writing books it's contrary to what people think when they want to go and write a book. It's a very difficult process.
Oh my God. You know, the worst part is there is no cabin in the woods. So if you're sitting around waiting for the day that you have no disturbances and can just be in a cabin in the woods writing 24 hours, that's a beautiful dream, but it's not a professional dream. You know, it's the dream of someone who has nothing but the opportunity to do so and no other responsibilities or obligations.
Like, how did you feel throughout that writing process?
Well, I think in the first time I did it, I kept waiting for inspiration. I've fortunately been able to be someone with a pretty natural ability to write, but that doesn't mean that will make it, that doesn't a book make, you know? A book is a much larger endeavor, and it's a lot more like project management, and you have to accept that not everything is going to come easily, but you need to sit and sit in that discomfort because eventually something will come. It's like working out a muscle. You know, you'd never ask someone someone would never say, oh, cool, I got the opportunity to run a marathon. I'll do that tomorrow. You know, people train for marathons for months and months and months. So having a book deal or writing a book is not like winning the lottery. It's like investing in a bank account, you know?
And thank you for answering my question of any tips for future writers.
Oh, there you go. Boom, boom, boom.
I'm cruising right along here.
I think that the marathon example is something that people can really, you know, kind of understand, because if you know people in your life that have run marathons, they start training for months and months and months and months. So writing a book or a novel is the exact same way. It's not, even someone with the most uncanny natural writing ability will still struggle, because a book is bigger than the writer. It takes more than that.
Yeah,
you know?
That's so true. When was the last time you cooked?
I cooked last night, but it wasn't anything to write home about. I made sweet potatoes and broccoli. Yum. And that was literally, I put like some cheddar cheese on the broccoli part, but that was it.
It's funny you say like nothing to write home about, because I eat out at great places, dive places. I'll make nice things at home. And then the one time, not that I have a fraction of the following that you have, but the one time I post like putting cheese on a tortilla and melting it in the microwave, I'm like, this is dinner. Like that one gets the most engagement.
That's
I was like,
it.
really?
That's dinner. Yep.
I was like, wait, it's a fucking tortilla with cheddar cheese that I rolled up. And everyone's like, I used to make that, you know, during college or whatever.
Yep.
It's so funny.
It's great. But it's like, it is, you know, it is a delicious and tasty meal, and it totally works, you know?
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I didn't know my wife got down with that also. And we've been together a long time. And she's like, I'm starving. What are you doing for dinner? I was like, honestly, I think I'm just going to melt cheese on a tortilla. She's like,
but you know what's so ironic is that my partner, when she's like, what are we doing for dinner tonight? And I'm like, I don't know, honey. I'm going to just eat something.
Yeah.
And that's the extent of my plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Katie's like, oh, cheese roll-ups? I was like, wait, you have a name for that? She's like, yeah, cheese roll-ups. I used to make it all the time. I was like, yeah, that's what we're having for dinner tonight.
Oh, that is so sweet. I need to somehow convince my partner to have the same attitude. She's always like, what's the dinner plan?
Yeah.
But she works a 9 to 5. So I get it. Like, she's like thinking like, ooh, you know, I work from home. So, maybe there's an opportunity for a more delicious meal when I get home.
Right.
And I get that. Like, you know, when I was working in the 9 to 5 space, I also very much looked forward to coming home and having a delicious meal. But sorry, that's not what I'm spending my day doing.
Or it's like, what do you want to eat for dinner tonight? And you're like, I don't know. What do you feel like eating? It's like, I'm not sure. You want Chinese? No, I don't want Chinese. You want pizza? No, I don't want pizza. Well, why don't you tell me what you want when you decide?
You want. Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, it sounds like you know a lot of things you don't want. And it also it's not a fun brainstorm for me. I find it very stressful.
Yeah.
To be like, well, what should we, if I'm not craving anything in particular, then it's not one of those nights that we're going to have a great meal. We're just going to get it done, you know?
That's really funny, because I love a good brainstorm, like in general with work and the creative side, but like
stresses me out, man. It stresses me out.
That's so funny. I want to jump into social impact a little bit here, because I was connected with you. You do a lot of work. Well, you've done work with Share Our Strength, No Kid Hungry. Mm-hmm. What's your connection to them, and why this organization? And full disclosure, I'm actually on their leadership council, and I've been a huge fan of them for so long, and I love anyone who lends their voice.
Love No Kid Hungry. You know, and I know Share Our Strength and No Kid Hungry. I forget which one's the umbrella of Share Our Strength, right? Yeah. And then No Kid Hungry is under it. I mean, personally, I absolutely love No Kid Hungry and the work I've been able to do with them and the impact that they've had. I was a kid who went to school without breakfast and with no lunch. And it does have a direct effect, not only on how you feel about yourself, but not only on your education, but how you feel about yourself and your sense of worth. You know, when you're a kid and you're hungry and your friends start giving you pieces of their lunch, you can get labeled a mooch early on, and it makes you feel bad, you know? Or you see them get yelled at by their parents being like, you can't give them your lunch, that's for you. And then you feel bad. And, you know, I think that a lot of that stuff can get really internalized for kids. So to be a part of a program that is not only well-maintained, but understood and approved and just as natural part of going to school as it can be, provides a great benefit to these kids, not only in just getting them fed, But by having them have a sense that someone is providing for them, or that they have nothing to be ashamed of because their family is working hard and wasn't able, didn't have the money or the time to plan out meals and that sort of thing.
That's fantastic. I mean, on behalf of me via them or them via me, however this goes, thank you for that, because your voice is incredible with that work. But so what's your goal in working with an organization like that?
I mean, my goal would be to continue to, I guess, adults blame other adults, but they don't realize that the only people that are receiving it are the children. And when you have families that are like, oh, so-and-so's parents really need to get their shit together, that's not helpful for the kid. That's not helpful for them. And so to normalize community resources as much as we can, that's what I'd like to do. We in America have this very backwards idea of what it means to be an American. We think it's about the individual. And I look forward to our nation's maturity and understanding that being an American is only made possible by the existence of other Americans. So to have a more community relationship around food and around children, that's the impact I hope this organization can make.
You're amazing. And we recently did a episode with Adrian Grenier, and he weaves a lot of social impact and philanthropy into his everyday, life and businesses and whatnot. And similarly speaking, he was giving a great, a quote or analogy. He's like, I can't be happy unless my neighbors are happy, and I can't be healthy unless my neighbors are healthy. And it's just like, to what you're saying, it's he's basically saying build a dream around you and it becomes your dream type thing. Yes,
literally. And it's something that I find, we live in an area with a lot of homeless people, and around Christmas especially, it just, I'll drive in my car and I mean, honestly, sometimes I'm brought to tears because I'm just like, we can't continue this idea that these people are in that position because they failed at society. They are the examples that society has failed them. And it can get really overwhelming, but I think with organizations like No Kid Hungry, it makes it something that anyone can have access and understanding to and just kind of make it a way of like, hey, you don't need to be overwhelmed by the weight of the entire world, but you can donate this money, and then these kids get fed by this organization who's doing the work,
Yes, I know. Amazing. I love it. Do you remember the first time or moment that inspired you to give back? And I feel like some people have this, and I do a ton of philanthropy through my day job, but I guess I have multiple things that led up to me wanting to do it, but no one pinpointed story. But is there something like that for you?
I just have been blessed by other people providing for me and me providing for others. I don't know. I'm lucky enough it doesn't seem like a choice. It seems like as natural as I don't know. I don't know. No, there's not really any real moment. It's just a part of being alive and being fortunate,
sure.
I guess. I've always believed in the sharing of resources. And as I became more and more successful, I'm like, well, it's just too much for one person, By virtue of the fact that I get to do a job that's not making me crazy, I feel really pretty great,
Let's switch gears to a quick speed round.
Okay.
I like starting with what you had for dinner last night, but we got that. So let's...
Oh, dang.
Let's name a smell in the kitchen you love.
Ooh, sauteing garlic.
Name a smell in the kitchen you hate.
The garbage bag.
Name a food guilty pleasure.
Ooh, too many. Udon, noodles. I love udon, and it's just a big pile of flour, but I love it.
What actor, actress would you want to play Hannah Hart in a movie?
Oh, what actor, actress would I want to play me in a movie? I don't know. Someone really good. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that meant much about pop culture, to be honest.
All good. Marlon
Brando.
There you go. All right. I want to close out with a few questions here. So basically, I mean, you're a role model, I think, for tons of people that follow you and watch what you do and, you know, what you communicate to them, especially for the LGBTQ community. What is the secret to your success?
Oh, good question. And then when you find the answer, let me know.
No secret to the success.
I guess that I believe in striking. You know, people always say strike while the iron's hot. And I believe in making the iron hot by continually striking. If that makes any sense.
Hell yeah.
Like, even if you find yourself in an advantageous position, just keep things going because, you know, right now you're physically able to, really.
Yeah.
You know, I am at once envious of and grateful for. I'm envious of, like, the idea that you could feel like you've arrived. And I'm grateful for the fact that I don't, because I think it's what keeps you creating, is this feeling that the work is never done, but in a good way.
Yeah. Well, is there a time you like realized you have arrived? I've chat with chefs during some of our other seasons. I was like, how do you know you made it, like, as a chef, you know? And it's always interesting to hear when.
I would like to hear what their answers are too. I feel like I've made it every day that I can pay my bills on time. Every time I don't have to, you know, I mean, I can just go out to dinner any night of the week, you know, and that's crazy. It's like, I choose to eat what we have at home because I'm too tired to go out and spend money. And that is like, yeah, I don't know what can make you feel more like you've arrived than that. You know what I mean? Like, it's great.
I love that you said that. And this episode is about you, not about me, but you're just saying so many normal things. And I mean that in a positive way. Yeah. One of the 3 colleges I went to, I remember this class I took, this professor I really looked up to, and he said he knew he made it when he could go out to dinner, look at the menu and not have to look at the prices of the items on the menu.
Yeah.
And it was
that's
such,
real.
It was, yeah, I thought it was the coolest thing.
It's really true. I mean, that's exactly it. You know, it's that I don't have to, I eat at home on nights because I choose to, not because I have to. And I think that, like, yeah, you don't have to look at the prices and you can get whatever cocktail you want or whatever glass of wine you want or any of that stuff. You know, all those things are really meaningful and impactful.
Yeah. When was the last time you like majorly screwed up dinner?
The other night 2 nights ago, I took out some bison patties from the refrigerator and I was very tired and I had not defrosted. Oh, they were from the freezer. So they were not at all defrosted, even remotely. And I was like, oh God, I just can't bring myself to think of something else to eat. I'm just going to bake them. So then I took the ground beef patties and proceeded to bake them. And it just was a mess. Some still had paper on them. I was too tired to be cooking, apparently.
Did takeout ensue, or are you just like, screw it, I'm eating chips?
No, I was just like, I just literally just ate like whatever. I just ate like 3 slices of cheese and was just tired.
You're like, tomorrow's always here. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, tomorrow's a new day. This dinner is over. Let's move on.
So you mentioned Ellen DeGeneres earlier when we were chatting. I know you signed a deal with her and are working with her. And this new series started yesterday. Tell us about that.
Oh, it's just the best. I feel super, super just so excited and happy for this show. And I really hope that we can turn it into a regularly scheduled program. It is a show called A Decent Proposal, and it's all about helping people who either don't have the financial resources or, frankly, the mental resources and personal resources to plan their dream proposal for the person they love. You know, because some of us have great big hearts, but are not good planners, you know?
Right.
And I had a whole team of people who helped me plan mine.
That's amazing. Okay, you've mastered, maybe you don't like that word, but I'll say you've mastered YouTube.
I'll take it.
YouTube, books, film, yada, yada, yada. What's next for Hannah Hart?
For as many, I mean, that's, again, like, for as many years as I can do this, that is the success I'm seeking, is to be able to provide for the people I love and to work in a career I love. That's what's next, because all of this can and will go away,
Yep. Awesome. Well,
yeah. So
thank you so much for your time. You speak so well on No Kid Hungry and these other topics. I can obviously see why you are so inspiring to the people that tune into you and look for a voice, to find their voice, and hopefully you keep lending yours to share our strength, because it's good to have you.
Hey, fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed.
Yes, absolutely.
People can buy my newest cookbook, My Drunk Kitchen Holidays, if they would like to support me continuing to talk to people about things.
Yes, there we go. Awesome. Thank you, Hannah.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah, awesome. It's been a total pleasure.
Of course. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Quote, "We in America have this very backwards idea of what it means to be an American. We think it's about the individual, and I look forward to our nation's maturity and understanding that being an American is only made possible by the existence of other Americans." Thanks again to Hannah Hart. Find more on her at hannahhart.com, or subscribe to her YouTube channel called My Harto, Harto. Join us next week when Beyond the Plate presents Just the Plate, a short segment where our guests describe a dish or a recipe that is meaningful to them. Find me and keep up to date with this podcast across all social media platforms at OnCappy's Plate, or go to BeyondThePlatePodcast.com. Beyond the Plate is on Twitter at BT Plate Podcast and Facebook. A big thank you to last season and again this season partner, formerly Aisle 8 by Flavor Gallery and now called Beyond the Plate Tees by Flavor Gallery. They supply all of our signature hats and t-shirts to our Beyond the Plate guests. After teasing this merchandise during all of season 2, it's now available to all of you. So check out BeyondThePlatePodcast.com and click on apparel to get yours. This episode was produced by myself, along with Ian Cohen, Joe Yeaton, and Sean Petrosian. Thank you to Andrew Glatt and Jeff Goldford. Our music has been composed by him. Find him at iGoldford. As always, a special shout out to my wife, Katie. Please rate, review, and or subscribe to this podcast on your listening site of choice. Thank you for listening to Beyond the Plate. I'm Cappy, and remember, there are never too many cooks in the kitchen.